Jameel, you just hit on a million different topics. I want to like go back a little bit and highlight a couple of them. So let's talk about the business of culture. What is the business of culture?
Man, the business of culture is really just like so. If you think of it, like if you look at the landscape, if you really study, even if you just study advertising, right? There are messages that are being sold, right? There's positioning there's stories that are being told, and the business of culture is really just being on the cusp of that, right? You like just being predisposed, like understanding where the energy is going and getting there first. And a lot of times in being first, you don't get credit for it. But if you think about, especially nowadays with like influencers, right? Like people want, you have to be like sort of aware of the things that people desire to be, right? And then being able to sell them that and package it in a way that's digestible, really creating narratives that are ownable and that are authentic. And the thing about it, you can't. So like there's moments where like people sell culture in the wrong way. I'm drawn to a memory of like one of the Kardashians like giving a Pepsi can to like a homeless person in a commercial, right? That's a
Yep.
moment where like, not being connected to culture can kill your business. But be clear, the companies that keep connectivity to culture are the ones that succeed, right? And it's because it's kind of who they are. It's authentic. It's not something, and it can't be manufactured. And,
Yeah.
you got to surround yourself with people, even myself today, like, I'm 56 years old now, right? So um, in my household, I have like the most amazing focus group around culture, right? So when I'm in the car with my kids, I have 6 kids that range from 14 years old to 28 years old. So I'm in the car with my 18-year-old twin sons, and I let them take control of the aux. That's the term that the young kids use. Give me the aux, and they're playing this music. And quite honestly, I'm like, I don't quite all the way understand it, but I get it, right?
Yeah.
I get it, and I know that it's important, and I know that it's next. And so, the culture business is really just like it's like the heartbeat of how the world moves, right? It's important, and used irresponsible, it could sell the wrong thing. So we're living in a time, even in music, hip hop music in particular, there's this thing called drill music, where these guys, and it's like a mind blowing to me. Like there was just a guy, I can't think of the guy's name, but a rapper that just got arrested for like putting a hit on someone. And these people drill music is basically these guys who are like criminals talking about the illegal things that they do in music, right? That's a moment where, while it's a real thing that's really happening, it's irresponsible, right? It's teaching something that will not serve the world in a positive way. But that's the reality of culture, right? It's not always a positive thing. We could also sell a lot of negativity if we choose to.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much. But I guess part of what you're talking about, there's like this tension that I've been exploring for years as it relates, like you're a culture finder. You understand it. I feel like it's baked into who you are. It's almost inherently a part of Jameel Spencer. Do you feel like people can learn and be educated about culture to find the next cultural movement, or do you feel like it's inherently inside of you? And the best chief marketing officers, the best brand builders are the ones that understand where culture is coming next. It's almost like they could sense the fashion trend, the art trend, the music trend. You can't really learn it, in my opinion. Do you agree?
I'd say this. I think there's a lot of chief marketing officers of big CPG companies that are not inherently that, right? So, and I think it's a combination of research, data, and then also like surrounding yourself with people, because you're going to need someone. So, and I would say this, and I had this conversation. So in my previous life, I had the luxury of working with Pharrell Williams, and he and I had a conversation because we're very similar, meaning that we come from like these inner cities. I was born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. He was born and raised in Virginia Beach. And he would tell the story that growing up, he would be afraid to come outside. He was afraid to come outside because on one corner they were like selling drugs. The other corner they were like gambling. The other corner they were like fighting dogs, right? And he was a nerd by definition, right? He loved music, right? He loved fashion, and those things weren't cool. And I would say that, sort of ghetto engineering, if you will, right? Like the superpower of figuring it out has provided like people like myself and people like Pharrell who's kind of lived in between those worlds. I think you have more imagination, right? You're forced to have more imagination because it's really easy to design into the negative things. Those things typically have like either become with fast money or fast satisfaction, those types of, it's hard to be counterculture, right? It's hard to be different. And so I think that people have to figure out how to study it, but it won't be the same, right? And it won't give you the ability. But I think that's why you see like these CMOs of these big CPG companies use a bunch of agencies. They use sort of outside resources to kind of fill the gap, and they are sort of measured enough and honest enough to know what they don't know and lean on other people to help them figure it out. But I would also say that there's probably a small community. And again, like I said, it's not that odd. Like you can think of, if you think about it, there's always been that kid in your class. He was just a little bit different. Probably didn't talk a lot. He was on the things he didn't want and by the way, he did those things and he didn't want everyone else doing them too. Yeah, he was the guy that always wanted to be first. Like I'm wearing my, it's almost like you watch the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, right? And he was wearing he went to like a private school and they're wearing it, but he wore his blazer inside out.
Totally.
Right? It's a guy that's just trying to shake things up and he doesn't really care what you think and he doesn't care if you follow it. And by the way, if you follow it, he's going to probably move on to something else. And I think that's a superpower that a few people in the world have. And everybody has, I think everyone has a superpower. I think that, being on the cusp of culture is one that there's a certain community and we kind of all like gravitate towards one another.